Okay, so giving it another shot on doing some snake skin and a couple of feathers. I actually added 3 to this rod. I'm going to try to go into a little bit more detail on this to kind of tell you what I do. In this video, it looks kind of rough. But what I do is I cut out the snake skin to, take my measurement with the diameter of the rod and cut out my snake skin to fit. Put it on with a coat or so with color preserver. I lay some down on the rod, and then I'll come back and put some on the back of the snake skin, and then I lay it out on the rod and smooth it around all the way around. I do one side and work it all the way around to the edge, and then I go to the other side of where I started because I start center. Go around to the other side to where it meets, and it's all smoothed out all throughout. And then I put another coat of color preserver, and while it's kind of wet, I had my feathers all trimmed up already. I lay my feather one at a time, and take your time. Trust me, it's kind of a pain in the behind. But I laid my feather out while it was wet and held it with a fingernail and coated again with a color preserver on top of the feather, and then took my pick and I shaped the feather kind of the way I wanted it, and I wanted a few strands to go out. It's kind of hard for this to focus on either side, kind of make it look, I don't know, artistic part of me coming out, I guess. Anyway, so then I decided to put one on the other end going in the other direction. Now this looks rough and y'all are probably thinking what the heck, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back with some thread on either end and trim it out. Of course, after if you can see some of this, I'm going to have to trim it a little bit. Just use a sharp razor is all, and to kind of match, because I'm kind of OCD when it comes to that sort of thing. Then I decided, well, I got one more feather, so I'm going to put it in front of the real seat. Now again, this looks kind of rough right now, so I put me some color preserver down on the rod, laid my feather out, shaped it a little bit, and you can see I'm using tiger thread on this rod. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to add a little bit more thread to cover the very bottom of that feather. So stay tuned for the next step. The color preserver is dry. I trimmed up the ends. I added thread to each end. That snake skin's looking pretty good. Those feathers don't look too bad either. And on this one up here, I just put a little bit at the bottom to cover up the very end of the feather. I'm getting ready to put the first coat of rod finish on here. Now, one of the reasons I'm doing this video is this is something I haven't worked too much with, being the snake skin and adding feathers to it. And it's just kind of to show y'all, one, me starting from, hopefully I'm going to improve as I go. But whenever you start something new, it's trial and error, and you're looking at videos and you're trying to figure out the best way to do it. And the best way I found is just jump right in there and do it. So hopefully my next one will be better, and then the one after that even better. I mean, they're fun. They really are. I'm enjoying it. But that's what's great about custom rod building, is you can just learn new things and start using them and trying them and getting better as you go. So that's it for this section until I come back to show y'all what it looks like with a coat of rod finish on it. Okay, so all my coats of epoxy on this, it didn't turn out pretty bad at all. I did notice, and it was probably the type of snakeskin that I used, that as the epoxy was drying, it kind of seemed like it faded out the snakeskin a little bit, probably because it was dyed, and the dye, whatever dye they used, wasn't good or whatever. I'm not really sure. Not an expert on snakeskin just yet, and probably never will be. But anyway, it turned out pretty nice. I mean, those feathers are kind of subtle. You don't like see them. But not awful. Snakeskin's not as scary as I was thinking. Let's go up here and just look at this feather. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Whoop. I think it looked much better with a lighter background though. Not awful. And what's neat about this tiger thread, I'll throw that in there, is if you don't put color preserver on there, you can see guide feet through it, or whatever you put underneath it. And which is kind of neat, because we have actually done a rod before. I'm trying to get up here to where it shows on this. We've done a rod before where we used plain white nylon thread, tied the guide on, and it was like the guy was just sitting on the blank, and it looked like it wasn't tied on at all, but it was. It just, without color preserver, that white nylon thread totally just became invisible. It was kind of cool. I like that effect sometimes. It depends on what I'm working on. But anyway, hope this little video I did of some snakeskin and feathers was helpful. Maybe it gave y'all some ideas. So stay tuned for whatever next project I seem to wander off and get myself into. Tight lines, y'all, and y'all take care.